Today we are going to explore one of the most surprising and valuable modern Lincoln pennies that many people underestimate, ignore, or simply do not know about. This is the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that millions of people have handled but very few have ever inspected closely. This penny is part of the regular business strike coins that were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and the Philadelphia Mint typically does not place a mint mark on regular circulation pennies. But what makes the 1995 no-mint mark penny incredibly valuable in certain rare conditions is a combination of history, minting characteristics, die issues, collector demand, and the stunning record prices that a few high-grade examples have sold for, including one extraordinary penny that reached a current market value of $52,902. Today we are going deep into its history, its characteristics, the errors that make it valuable, the grading details that turn it into a fortune, and how you can identify these rare pennies in your change. Let's start with the background of the 1995 penny. The year 1995 was the last period of the early 1990s when the United States Mint was transitioning and updating many of its processes. Penny production was extremely high during this period, with billions of coins being struck each year. The 1995 no-mint mark penny was made at the Philadelphia Mint using the copper-plated zinc composition that began in 1982. This means the coin consists of a core of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, giving it the same appearance as the earlier copper coins, even though the inner metal content is different. Because billions of these were made, most people assume the 1995 penny is extremely common. But what many collectors focus on is not how many were produced but how few survived in perfect, untouched, brilliant mint state condition. Circulation quickly damages these pennies, causing scratches, dents, dull surfaces, corrosion, and wear that reduce their value. So although there are billions out there, only a tiny fraction are perfect enough to interest high-end collectors. Now we must understand why the 1995 no-mint mark penny became famous. One major reason is the well-known double die obverse variety that occurred in 1995. This error features noticeable doubling on the letters of the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and sometimes on the date. This doubling occurred because the die, which strikes the design onto the coin, received an improper impression, resulting in doubled images. This variety instantly became one of the most recognized double die coins of the modern era. Many people found these in circulation, and collectors began paying high prices for strong doubled die examples. Even though the double die variety is not the only valuable form of this coin, it contributed heavily to the 1995 penny gaining a reputation among coin collectors. However, even regular, non-doubled 1995 pennies can reach astronomically high prices when they are in exceptional condition. The reason the price can reach as high as $52,902 is because of grading. Grading is one of the most important factors in determining coin value. Third-party grading companies such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 represents a flawless coin with no marks visible under magnification. For modern pennies, a grade of 68, 69, or 70 is extremely rare because the minting and packaging processes often create tiny imperfections. A penny with even a tiny scratch or mark cannot achieve the highest grade. So when a coin grader identifies a 1995 penny in nearly perfect condition, collectors compete intensely to acquire it. This competition is what drove one spectacular 1995 no-mint mark penny to reach the current market value of $52,902. High-grade registry collectors, who want the best examples of each year, often pay tens of thousands of dollars to secure the highest graded known coin for that date. Understanding what makes the 1995 penny valuable is essential. The first major attribute is the strike quality. A strong strike means all the details on Lincoln's portrait and the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial are crisp and sharp. The hair curls on Lincoln must be separate and well defined. The letters should have clean edges, and there should be no weak or flat areas. The second attribute is luster, which is the shine or reflective quality of the coin's surface. High-grade coins have a blazing, cartwheel-like luster that moves when you rotate the coin under light. The third attribute is surface preservation. The coin must be free of scratches, bag marks, nicks, spots, stains, and discoloration. Even a tiny black dot or a faint scratch can drop the grade from a 69 to a 66, reducing the value from thousands of dollars to maybe a few dollars. Because of this standard, very few 1995 pennies meet the strict quality level required to reach the $50,000 range. Now let's talk about errors and varieties that increase the value even more. We mentioned the double die obverse, which is the main collectible variety for the 1995 penny. But there are also other minor die cracks, die chips, and plating errors that occur because of the copper-plated zinc construction. When the plating separates or forms bubbles, it creates a physical deformity on the coin. Although these errors are often small, some collectors value dramatic and unusual plating errors. However, the highest-priced 1995 pennies are usually those without major defects because collectors seeking the highest grade want a perfectly struck coin with no imperfections. Another major factor in the value of the 1995 penny is rarity in high grade. While billions were produced, the number of coins graded MS-68 or higher is extremely small. This is partly due to how pennies are transported in huge bags that contain tens of thousands of coins. These coins bump into each other during handling, causing tiny hits that reduce the grade. Even before the coins leave the mint, they pick up marks from the minting machinery. So a coin that escapes all of this damage is extremely rare. That is why the finest known examples bring such high prices. Let's talk about the market demand. The Lincoln Cent series attracts millions of collectors worldwide. It is one of the most collected coin series in the world because Lincoln pennies are easy to find in circulation, inexpensive to start collecting, and rich in history. The introduction of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959 and the change to zinc in 1982 created several distinct eras within the series. The 1995 penny falls within the modern Memorial series and is especially popular because it represents one of the strongest double die events of the late 20th century. Additionally, collectors building registry sets need the highest graded coins to complete their sets. When only one or two examples of a coin exist in extremely high grades, competition skyrockets, driving prices into the tens of thousands. Now let's talk about how you can identify valuable 1995 no-mint marked pennies at home. The first thing to do is to use good lighting. A simple desk lamp or LED flashlight is enough to inspect the coin. Hold the penny at an angle and tilt it slowly back and forth. Look at the word Liberty. If you see doubling, with the letters appearing thicker or shadowed, you may have a double die. Next, examine the motto "I in God We Trust." The doubling should be strong enough to notice without magnification in most cases. After that, look at the date 1995. If there is doubling, it may be a valuable variety. Even if your coin is not a double die example, examine the surfaces for scratches, marks, spots, and dents. A clean, shiny penny with no visible blemishes might be worth grading. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe if possible. Inspect Lincoln's beard, the hair detail, the eyebrow, and the coat. Sharp, crisp details indicate a strong strike. On the reverse, check the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and the tiny statue of Lincoln in the center. Well-defined features increase value. Once you believe you have a potentially valuable 1995 penny, you need to determine if it is worth grading. Grading costs money, so you only want to submit coins that appear near perfect. Many collectors look for coins straight from old rolls, mint sets, or coin jars that haven't been touched in decades. These coins sometimes survive in excellent condition. If you find a coin with blazing red luster, no spots, and sharp details, it could be worth sending to a grading service. If graded MS-67 or MS-68, it could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. And if by rare chance it reaches the top grade, it could be worth tens of thousands, just like the example that reached the current market value of $52,902. Now let's take a moment to appreciate the history behind the Lincoln portrait design. Victor David Brenner created the original obverse design in 1909, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln. This design has now lasted for more than a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Today we are talking about one of the most surprising and valuable modern Lincoln pennies, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that many people overlook because 1982 was a very common year for pennies, and yet this specific variety can be worth up to $72,821 in today's coin market. In this video we will explore the complete history of the 1982 penny, why the year 1982 is extremely important in the history of American coinage, what makes the no-mint mark variety so special, the rare errors you should look for, how to identify the valuable versions even in normal pocket change, grading details that can raise or lower the value, and real auction results showing how collectors have paid life-changing money for these coins. So stay with me from beginning to end because this information can help you check your own collection or pocket change for a penny that could change your life instantly. The year 1982 is one of the most complicated years in the entire Lincoln cent series. For more than 70 years the United States Mint struck pennies from a bronze composition that was 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But in 1982, because of rising copper prices, the Mint officially changed the penny's composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet, which contains only about 2.5% copper. This meant that during the same year, the Mint produced pennies using two different compositions. Not only that, they produced several varieties with small date and large date designs. This mixture created a total of 7 main varieties for the year 1982, and this is where things can get confusing for new collectors, because each variety has its own characteristics, rarity levels, and value. Among these, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is the one that has shocked collectors with extremely high auction prices. Now, the first thing you need to know is that no-mint mark means the coin was produced in Philadelphia. In 1982, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on pennies, so if your coin has no letter under the date, that is normal. However, the value depends on what type of 1982 penny you have. The Philadelphia Mint that year made both copper and zinc pennies, and both types came in small date and large date versions. The extremely valuable one, the one that has sold for over $72,000, is the 1982 no-mint mark copper small date penny, in extremely high-grade condition. This coin is extremely hard to find in perfect condition because the copper composition was softer and wore down easily, and one reason this coin commands such high prices is that top-grade examples are extremely scarce. To understand this better, let's talk about how you can identify the small date and large date versions. In the small date design, the number 2 in the date has a more delicate curve, and the entire date appears more even in size. The 8 also appears more balanced. In the large date design, the 2 is thicker and has a stronger base, and the 8 has a slight tilt in appearance. This is critical because the small date copper version is far scarcer than the others. So when checking your coin, focus on the shape of the 2 and the overall appearance of the date. Next is identifying whether your coin is copper or zinc. The easiest method is to weigh the coin. A copper 1982 penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams. Even a small weight difference matters. If your coin weighs 3.11 grams and has the small date design with no mint mark, you may have a valuable coin. Never clean the coin because cleaning will dramatically reduce its value. If you think your coin is special, keep it exactly as you found it and store it safely. Now let's talk about why this particular coin is worth so much money. The reason is scarcity combined with demand from serious collectors. Collectors want high-grade examples of rare varieties, and since most 1982 pennies circulated heavily, very few survived in mint state condition. The coin that sold for more than $72,000 was graded an extremely high level by a professional grading service, which makes it almost perfect. That level of perfection is what attracts record-breaking bids from collectors and investors. To understand the value, let's look at some auction results. A top-graded mint state 1982 no-mint mark copper small date penny sold for more than $70,000 at auction, shocking everyone in the coin world. Another high-grade example sold for tens of thousands of dollars as well. Even lower-grade mint state examples can sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on eye appeal, luster, and strike quality. If the coin has strong detail, a clean surface, and bright original color, collectors will pay a premium. Now you might be wondering, what about errors? The year 1982 is famous for several error types that can add value to the penny even if it is not the rare copper small date version. Some of these errors include double die verse, where the date or letters show doubling, off-center strikes where the design is not properly positioned, broad strikes where the rim is missing, die cracks that show as raised lines, and transitional errors where the wrong composition planchet was used. Some transitional errors can be extremely valuable because they combine the wrong metal with the wrong date design. There have been cases where people found 1982 pennies weighing around 3.1 grams but made from zinc planchets, or weighing 2.5 grams but with small date designs not known for that weight. These transitional errors can be worth thousands. If you suspect your coin has an unusual weight or appearance, always weigh it and compare it with known standards. Errors increase value dramatically. Let's also talk about the history of the Lincoln cent. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it has become one of the most collected U.S. coins. The 1982 penny stands out because of the metal change, which makes it a transitional year, and therefore highly significant for numismatists. Collectors love years where major changes occurred because such coins often have varieties, mismatches, and rare mistakes that the general public never noticed. Now let's go deeper into why grading matters. A coin grading service such as PCGS or NGC evaluates the coin's condition and assigns a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. The difference between MS-64 and MS-67 can be thousands of dollars. For the 1982 no mint mark copper small date penny, only a few examples are known in the highest grades, which is why they can reach astronomical values. A flawless coin has extremely sharp details, no scratches, no discoloration, and perfect luster. That level of quality is very hard to find in a coin that has been circulating for decades. If you find a coin that looks promising, the best thing to do is examine it under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or coin loupe. Look carefully for scratches, dents, discoloration, or signs of cleaning. A natural coin with original mint luster is always more valuable. If the coin appears almost uncirculated, it is worth having it graded. Now let's talk about how these coins still appear in circulation today. Many people think old pennies have been removed from circulation, but that is not true. Millions of pennies are still in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and old coin rolls. People often cash in their old loose change, and banks may receive old rolls that have been sitting untouched for decades. This means that rare 1982 pennies can still be found by lucky individuals who check their coins carefully. You never know when someone might drop a rare and valuable penny into circulation without realizing its worth. Another reason this coin is valuable is because collectors are focusing heavily on modern rarity. In the past, people mainly collected older coins like wheat pennies or silver dollars. But now there is a major trend toward finding rare varieties and more recent coins. This has driven up prices for high-grade modern pennies, nickels, and quarters. The 1982 no mint mark copper small date penny is a perfect example of modern rarity commanding high value. Let's now discuss how to spot fakes. Whenever a coin becomes extremely valuable, counterfeiters try to create false versions. You must be careful when buying or selling rare pennies. A fake will usually have incorrect weight, incorrect metal sound, or incorrect surface appearance. A copper coin will produce a different sound when dropped compared to a zinc coin. However, never drop your coin intentionally, as it can damage the surface. Professional grading services can verify authenticity, so do not attempt to guess it yourself if the coin is valuable. As collectors search for these coins, many small details matter. For example, the thickness of the numbers in the date, the shape of the lettering, the strength of the strike, the clarity of Lincoln's beard and coat, and the crispness of the rim. Today's video is going to take you deep into the world of modern Lincoln pennies, and we are talking about a coin that nobody expects to be valuable, a coin that people spend every single day without even thinking twice. But one rare version of this coin can change your life. Yes, we are talking about the 2002 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a regular-looking penny that most people would assume is just worth 1 cent, but certain rare varieties of this coin have shocked collectors because of their extreme value. In today's video, we will explore the full history of the 2002 D penny, why it was minted, what makes this year unique, the rare errors that increased the value dramatically, what collectors look for, and most importantly, how one special 2002 D penny reached a massive current market value of $90,568. So stay with me all the way to the end, because after watching this video you will know exactly what to look for in your own penny collection or pocket change. Let's begin our journey with the background. The 2002 D Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the most important minting facilities in the United States. In 2002, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies because the Lincoln cent is still the backbone of American currency despite many debates about stopping its production. The Denver Mint is known for using the letter D as its mint mark, which appears right under the year of the coin. For most people, the 2002 D penny is nothing special, but among collectors there are rare mistakes and high-grade examples that make this coin extremely valuable. To understand why the 2002 D penny is important, we have to go back and look at the long history of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It became the first United States coin to feature a real historical person. The design on the front, or the obverse, shows Abraham Lincoln facing to the right, created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse back then had the iconic wheat ears, known as the wheat penny. Later in 1959, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial reverse to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This design continued all the way until 2008. So the 2002 D penny still carries the classic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Now the average 2002 D penny is made of copper-plated zinc. This means the core of the coin is zinc, and it is coated with a thin layer of copper. The reason for this was to save production costs because pure copper became too expensive. Starting in 1982, the Mint switched to copper-plated zinc instead of solid copper pennies. Because of this change, the 2002 D penny is more likely to get damaged, scratched, or corroded, making high-grade examples much harder to find. And that is one of the biggest reasons certain 2002 D pennies become extremely valuable. Condition is everything when it comes to coins, especially modern coins. If your coin is in a high grade like MS67, MS68 or higher, then collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars. Now let's go deeper into the details of what makes a 2002 D penny valuable. The biggest factor is errors or minting mistakes. When a coin leaves the mint with an error that is rare and hard to reproduce, collectors chase after it. Some of the most common and extremely valuable errors found on 2002 D pennies include double die errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, broad strike errors, and even struck-through grease errors that make parts of the design disappear. A strong double die on either the obverse or reverse can increase the value from just 1 cent to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors look for doubling on the date, doubling on the mint mark D, doubling on the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." On the reverse, doubling might appear on the words United States of America, 1 cent, or the Lincoln Memorial pillars. Another extremely valuable error is the off-center strike. This is when the design of the coin is struck off-center because the blank planchet was not positioned correctly between the dies. The more off-center the design is, the more valuable the coin becomes. A perfectly off-center coin that still shows the full date and mint mark can be worth hundreds or thousands. The 2002 D penny with a dramatic off-center error has sold for huge amounts in auctions because such errors from this year are rare. A clipped planchet is another error where a small part of the coin looks like it has been bitten off. This happens when the metal is punched incorrectly before striking. If your 2002 D penny has a clean crescent-shaped missing piece, then congratulations. It might be a rare clipped planchet error which can sell for a very high price depending on condition. Now let's come to the star of today's video, the rare 2002 D Lincoln penny that shocked everyone by selling for a massive $90,568. This coin reached this unbelievable price because it combined two things. First, it was an extremely high grade, nearly perfect, with a flawless surface and strong luster. Second, It had a dramatic mint error that made it unique. Only one known example exists in this condition, and with this type of error. Rare combination like this creates a once-in-a-lifetime coin that serious collectors compete fiercely for. When a coin is one of a kind, the price goes up beyond imagination. Now let's talk about grading, because this is what determines whether your coin is worth 1 cent or thousands of dollars. Grading is done by professional coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Coins are graded from 1 to 70. For modern pennies like the 2002D, a grade below MS65 usually does not bring high value. But once you reach MS66, MS67, MS68 and above, the value rises sharply. A 2002D penny graded MS68 red is almost impossible to find, and if one appears in the market, collectors jump immediately. That is exactly why the record-breaking 2002D penny became so valuable. It had perfect color, full red luster, sharp details on Lincoln's face and clothing, no scratches, no stains, no carbon spots, no zinc corrosion, and no weakness in the strike. Combined with the rare error, this made it a treasure for collectors. The 2002D penny is also important because it belongs to the final years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. Many collectors tried to complete a full high-grade set of Memorial reverse pennies from 1959 to 2008. The hardest years become extremely valuable. While many coins from the 2000s are common, finding high-grade examples is very rare because most of these coins were spent immediately, thrown in drawers, kept in pockets, or damaged over time. Very few people stored them safely right from the mint, which is why high-grade survivors are so rare. Let's talk about how you can identify a valuable 2002D penny at home. First, look at the general condition. If the coin appears shiny, bright red, with no visible scratches or marks, it may be worth checking professionally. Use a magnifying glass to check the date, the mint mark D, the lettering, and Lincoln's details. Look for doubling on the date or letters. Look for cracks on the coin's surface, which may indicate a die break error. Rotate the coin under light and see if the design looks doubled or distorted. Also check the edges of the coin to see if it is clipped or irregular. If anything looks unusual or different from normal pennies, your coin may be rare. Let's now discuss market value trends. Over the last few years, rare modern pennies with high grades and dramatic errors have been selling for surprising prices. Collectors used to focus mainly on older coins, but recently the trend has shifted toward modern errors because they are rare in high condition. The 2002D penny has gained attention especially after the sale of the record-breaking $90,568 coin. This sale created a wave of interest, and many collectors are now actively searching for error pennies from early 2000s. This has pushed up auction prices, and experts believe the value will continue rising in the coming years as fewer examples remain available. Now let's shift to the educational part because I want you to understand exactly how such errors happen inside the mint. The minting process involves feeding metal sheets into large cutting machines that punch out round blanks. These blanks are then fed into press machines where two dies strike the design onto the coin. If the blank is misaligned, worn dies are used, grease gets stuck in the die, or the machine jams, then errors occur. Normally the mint tries to catch these mistakes and remove them, but with millions of coins being made every day, some errors escape into circulation. These error coins later become very valuable because they are technically rare accidents. The 2002D penny with the ultra-high value had a dramatic striking error that occurred during this exact process. Because only one clear example is known, this coin became a prize for collectors. Whenever a modern coin becomes a key rarity, the price shoots up. And that is exactly what happened here. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into a modern Lincoln penny that most people ignore, a coin that millions of collectors have in their homes, in piggy banks, in old jars, and mixed in pocket change. But only a tiny number of people know that this common-looking coin, the 2004D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, can be worth an unbelievable $72,808 in the current coin market. Yes, more than $72,000 for a 1-cent penny that you might already have without even knowing it. So watch this video till the end because you are about to learn everything about this coin's history, the hidden errors, the grading secrets, the die varieties, the special features that make it extremely valuable, and what you should look for in your own change right now. Let's start with the story behind the 2004 D Lincoln penny. Minted in Denver, this coin is part of the memorial reverse design that was used from 1959 until 2008. The 2004 D penny was produced in massive numbers, over 3.5 billion pieces, so people assume it has no value beyond 1 cent. But like I always tell you on this channel, not all coins are created equal. When billions of coins are produced, mistakes are guaranteed. And those mistakes, when rare and dramatic, can turn a simple 1 cent piece into a life-changing amount of money. And the 2004 D penny is one of those coins. Before we talk about the rarest version that sold for over $72,000, you need to understand why certain pennies become so valuable. Value comes from 3 major things: rarity, condition, and demand. Even though billions of 2004 D pennies exist, only a few survive with extremely high mint state grades, and even fewer survive with major mint errors. When a coin is both rare in grade and rare in error, the price goes into the tens of thousands. And that's exactly what happened with the record-breaking 2004 D Lincoln penny. Let's talk about the quality factor. Most pennies circulate, get scratched, get damaged, lose their shine, and become brown. But the rare valuable ones are the coins that never circulated, the ones that remained in almost perfect condition with sharp details, full mint luster, and very few marks. These coins receive high grades from coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC. A 2004 D penny that grades MS68 or MS69 is so rare that collectors will pay huge money for it. And the top population coins, meaning the best known examples in the world, are the ones that have brought in prices over $70,000. Now let's talk about the exact coin that sold for $72,808. This was a 2004 D Lincoln cent graded at an extremely high grade with exceptional strike and luster. Collectors went crazy for it because there are almost no coins from this year and mint that reach such a level of perfection. And when you combine extreme rarity with massive collector demand, you get a final hammer price that shocks everyone. This proves that modern pennies are not worthless. They can be worth as much as classic rare coins if the grade is high enough. Now let's talk about the errors and varieties you should be looking for. The 2004 D penny has several known errors that can bring thousands of dollars even in lower grades. One of the key things to look for is doubling. Doubling happens when the design is struck more than once in a misaligned way. Check the date 2004, check the letters Liberty, and especially check the motto "In God We Trust." If you see any shadow lines, doubling or thickening on the letters, you might have a double die penny. Some 2004 D double dies have been reported selling for huge prices. Another error to look for is off-center strikes. An off-center penny where the design is shifted by 10 to 50% is extremely collectible. If the date is still visible, the value skyrockets. A 2004 D penny with a dramatic off-center strike can sell anywhere from several $100s up to thousands depending on how extreme the strike is. You should also search for broad strikes. A broad strike happens when the coin is struck without the collar, causing it to expand larger than normal. These errors are very popular with collectors and can sell for hundreds of dollars or more. Next, look for clipped planchets. A clipped planchet is a coin that is missing a curved portion because the metal strip was misfed into the cutting machine. A 2004 D penny with a nice clean clip could be worth $100 to $300 or even more if it's uncirculated. One of the most valuable errors to check is the die break, or cud. A cud is a major lump of metal that forms when a piece of the die breaks off and the coin fills that gap with metal. A strong cut on a 2004 D penny can bring massive premiums, sometimes into the thousands. Now another important detail collectors look for is color. Lincoln pennies come in 3 color categories: brown, red-brown, and full red. Full red is the highest and most valuable because it means the original mint luster was preserved. A 2004 D penny with full red color in MS68 or MS69 is nearly impossible to find, and that's why they go for huge money. If you're wondering how you can find these pennies, the answer is simple. Start with your pocket change. Check old jars in your home. Go through coin rolls from the bank. Many people don't realize that modern Lincoln pennies can be extremely valuable, so rare coins often slip into circulation by accident. Also, check inherited coin collections because older family members may have saved pennies without knowing the value of certain errors. Now let's talk about how to examine your pennies properly. First, always use good lighting. Natural sunlight or a bright LED light works best. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe with at least 10 times magnification. Check the date, the mint mark, Lincoln's beard, the lettering and the reverse building details carefully. Look for any doubling, cracks, distortions, missing details or unusual shapes. Anything out of the ordinary could mean a valuable error. Next, let's talk about grading. If you think you have a high-grade 2004D penny or a rare error, you should consider sending it to a grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate the coin, certify it, protect it in a slab and give it an official grade. High-grade certified pennies sell for much more money and attract serious collectors. Now let's talk a little about the composition and why condition matters so much. The 2004D penny is made of copper-plated zinc. Zinc coins scratch easily, corrode easily, and get damaged quickly. That makes high-grade examples extremely rare because they're very difficult to find without marks. Even tiny scratches can lower the grade significantly. That's why a nearly flawless 2004D penny can bring premium prices. As more collectors enter the market, competition increases and the value of top-grade coins continues to rise. Modern coins that used to be ignored are now considered masterpieces when found in high condition. And that's why coins like the 2004D penny have shocked the coin world with their auction prices. Now let's talk about the future value of this coin. Experts believe that top-grade modern coins like the 2004D penny will continue to increase in value over the next decade because the supply is extremely limited and demand is growing every year. So if you have a high-grade example or a rare error, you should hold on to it. These coins are gaining attention and the market price could rise even higher than $72,000. As we wrap up, always remember that valuable coins are hiding everywhere. You just have to learn what to look for. The 2004D Lincoln penny is proof that even a modern 1-cent coin can change someone's life. So start checking your change today. You might already be holding a coin that could sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Thank you for watching this long and detailed guide. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like and share because your support helps me bring more valuable coin knowledge to you. And remember to check your coins closely because the next rare treasure could be in your pocket right now.